And what is up, everybody? Welcome to Fairway to Heaven here on Tuesday night, right here on DSM Media. Live as always, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Smash the like button, smash the share button, retweet button. You know, pretty much every button you could find, just hit it and make sure you share it out. We'd appreciate all the support. The best way to interact with the show is to head over to our YouTube page. If you have questions for your fantasy lineups this week, make sure you head over to the YouTube page. That's the easiest way. I put the comments right up on the screen. Links provided everywhere you go. So make sure you do that there. We are brought to you, as all shows on DSM Media, by Manscaped, the leader in men's grooming products, the GOAT in below-the-waist maintenance. Make sure you check them out. Manscaped.com. Use promo code DSM at checkout to get you 20% off and free shipping. And also this year, as I've been saying every week, we are partnering with Fantasy National Golf Club, private golf club for fantasy golfers. They don't make the picks for you. They just give you world-class research tools that will save you time and allow you to make better decisions. So fantasynational.com, best model-making system there is on the market today. As always, I'm Phil Stifel, joined by Jason Sullivan, and we are joined this week by our special guest at Detroit Dave 7, a.k.a. Drew. How you doing today, Drew?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me on again, guys. I hope everything is good. Phil, I see you on shows all the time, dude. Do you ever sleep?
Oh, you know, I do own a pizza shop and work 7 days a week as well. So
okay, all right. You know, so you're really not doing much. I don't
literally sleep because the little sleep I get, my dog kicks me all night long. So the little time I'm in my bed, I'm normally just fighting my dog. So, and if you follow me
you're
on
the
Twitter,
hardest working man in the business. So I appreciate you guys having me back on, though.
Yeah, hey, but thank you very much. So this week we got a jam-packed event this week. You know, Farmers Insurance Open, Jason. I know you did your write-up for FanShare. I know you talked about the course and all. I love the Farmers Insurance. I love Torrey Pines, the host of the course this week, mainly because it's in San Diego, and it's my favorite city in the country that I've been to. I've been to a lot of cities. There is nothing better than San Diego, California, especially weather-wise. So, Jason, real quick, thoughts on Torrey Pines, thoughts on the course and how it's going to play this week?
Just an iconic course. I mean, it's one of those courses like you think PGA Tour, you think Torrey Pines. So I love it. More so, I like the field this week though. I'm pumped to get off these birdie fests. I like this kind of course a little bit better. Obviously, a lot of history here. It's more of a major field. Obviously, not quite as strong of a field, but probably not quite as strong of a course either. But I like the major field. I like the 10 to 15 under scores instead of the birdie fest that we've been seeing. So I'm pumped. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Drew, are you in the same boat with Torrey Pines? I know your partner on the Approach podcast, Rob. He's heading out to Torrey Pines this weekend, right?
Yeah, he's gonna have boots on ground. I think he's meeting up with some other people, so that's great. I'll be in freezing ass Cleveland, Ohio. No, I'm with Jason on this one. It's nice to have an event that's not going to be 25 to 35 under par. And Torrey Pines isn't. Like they can trick the course up like they did for the U.S. Open. But we're not going to get a whole lot of that this week. But it's a great golf course. You know, I just love like kind of being able to watch golf till 8 p.m. is really what I'm all about. Yeah. And you guys hit it with the field this week, right? So this is a considerably better field than they normally have at this event, just because the way the calendar shakes up and things like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's kind of like, it feels to me at least like the first event, right? The first event with kind of a lot behind it. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
This is definitely, like, in my opinion, the kickoff to the season.
Yes,
because you've literally got all the who's who playing. You got Dustin Johnson, you got Hideki, you got JT. You know, you got everybody there. So I love that aspect of it. I also like, and it's different for anybody, if you haven't filled out your lineups this week, as soon as this show's over, you better take the information and run with it, because they are starting tomorrow and they're running the event Wednesday through Saturday. I actually am super excited about that, because now I don't have to on Sunday choose between watching the final round and AFC, NFC championship games. Did they make the right decision on doing that?
Oh yeah. Golf is some of the dumb rules they have and some of the things that the PGA Tour do that we just complain about all the time. Great pivot here. Like, why would you like think about last week? Like the Amex, it was some of the lowest viewership that they've had, because I mean, we had a slate of the best games that we could possibly have, right? So the PGA knows kind of their who they are, right? They're not gonna, if they don't have to go up against the NFL, then they'll do it, especially at a big time event course like this. So absolutely, they made the right decision.
Jason, agree on that?
Yeah, 100%. Like Drew just said, they know you're not going to compete against the NFL right now. The NFL is probably, I don't know, hotter than it's ever been right now. I feel like after the last week's games, they were like the best games I've probably ever seen in a divisional round. So yeah, they don't want to mess with that at all. Obviously, golf is still kind of a niche sport. It's becoming, I think, more, which is great. And DFS helps that cause, I think, too. But it's still kind of specific to a certain group of people that watch. It's not like football where every single person, all wives, girlfriends, they're gonna tune into the NFL playoffs. Like golf's not really like that. So definitely the right call.
My wife doesn't do that, sadly.
My wife watches. My wife watches whatever I put on the TV.
Wow.
I give her the remote one day a week, and honestly,
Jesus.
that one day a week, I'm literally checking every week what night am I giving her the remote. It normally falls on like a Saturday night or something like that.
Does she have like a selected time slot where she gets to receive the
I
remote?
have a schedule written on the wall. This is the Sixers schedule.
Fair enough.
Schedule,
Hey, this is your
schedule.
day.
She actually loves me podcasting now because it gives her the entire living room to watch whatever she wants. She can catch up on her Grays. She's watching Chicago. I could hear Chicago Fire in the background right now.
Big Chicago Fire fan is she? Okay. All right.
Yeah. But we just got into
You know what the best part about your wife is? Your wife just goes with the flow. She's like the nicest person I've ever met. So yeah,
I will.
She wins.
At the 8:15 mark, I'm going to bring this out and let her. Yeah, I definitely won out there big time with her.
Clip out the part where you said she only gets the remote for like 20 minutes a week.
No.
We're just do that part right after it.
Delete that section of the show right there. Oh man. Okay, let's get back on track here. Let's not talk about my relationship issues here, okay?
Sorry.
Because I'm going to need a group therapist here, when the show's over. Let's get to it. San Diego, Torrey Pines. You got the North Course, the South Course. Obviously, the North Course is much shorter than the South Course. South Course is probably the longest course on tour, correct? If I forget whether I read it's the longest, if not one of the longest on course.
Yep.
So this week is the first week. It seems this year that driving distance and off the tee, it's going to be the first week that's like one of the most important things, at least in the pool of important things. It's the first time this year, right?
I think so. Yeah, like you said, distance. I know I'm actually weighing off the tee just in general, but distance is obviously the bigger part of that. I think you don't have to hit fairways here to succeed. Obviously, you're going to put yourself in a better spot to do so. But, I don't know. In a course like this, I don't feel like you have to hit the fairway, so I'm definitely weighing off the tee quite a bit this week.
Drew?
Yeah, no, I'm with him. So, again, this is kind of somewhat a bomb and gouge to an extent. Like, the rough here is different than we saw back in June at the U.S. Open, right? So you have like and Jason does such a good, article to open the week. You have the Kikuyu rough and it's kind of overseeded, which makes it a little extra juicy. But again, it's not over Pinot rough, like where the US Open, they grow it up to 4 to 5 inches. We're at like 2 to 2.5. So it's way more manageable. It's also, you definitely want to weigh on driving distance. But I also, if you look at driving statistics, it doesn't eliminate a ton of players because everybody is kind of right, at least at the 290 to 300 range. So, but the nice thing that it does is like we can sit back and say like there's certain 25 to 30 guys that just may not be able to get around this ballpark, and they're hitting fairway woods into greens because long irons are going to be considerably important this week. So you can it's definitely helpful, but. Yeah, it's going to be kind of a bomb and gouge, and it'll be fun because it's not a course that you're just going to see a ton of birdies on. And you also, the other is staring you right in the face at all times. Like, it's easy to make a double or triple bogey around here and flip things in a hurry.
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting question because I read a lot of articles on, what stats on the course. I read Jason's every single week and some of the other great writers that put together these course breakdowns. And, there's two different, aspects. You got birdies. It's not a birdie fest. So how important is birdie or better and the ability to score birdies? Or is it more important to find the guys that just don't make mistakes and avoid bogeys and that bogey avoidance? And it's something I've been thinking about a lot this week, as we're leading up to this show. What would be more important in my mind? Jason, do you have a thought on that?
So, yeah, I think it's bogey avoidance for sure this week. Par is an okay number this week. If you're hitting par, if you're making pars, that's good. So I'm weighing bogey avoidance more than normally do, kind of like for a major almost. And then I'm going to weigh opportunities gained actually quite a bit because I want the guys that are at least setting themselves up, giving themselves a chance to score. But yeah, like you said, pars are okay, and yeah, bogey avoidance is definitely really important.
Do you agree with that, Drew?
Yeah, it's 100% bogey avoidance because this golf course, they'll score well on it depending on weather conditions, and it looks like it's going to be a nice week. But you're not going to lap the golf course after a 61 around here, right? Everybody's going to kind of stay smushed into one pile for the first 3 days, and then we'll see it separate. But that's the thing, like with these birdie fests, you see guys that are basically after the second round or 12, 14 shots back. But this week's going to be different. There'll be, a lot more even scores. And yeah, the person that makes the least amount of mistakes, I think, is definitely the upper hand around this track.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm not wrong.
What do you guys want to ask?
What's that?
I'm sorry. I just want to ask you guys real quick. What are you guys' thoughts on stacking like waves or guys starting on the north course versus the south course? Do you have any theories on that, or does it not really matter? That was actually kind of
leading into my thought process there. I was thinking about how great Patrick Reed played in round one on the north course because it's a shorter course last year, and then the other 3 rounds, I think he shot like 6 or 7 under the rest of the weekend, but he didn't even need to shoot that much. To win the event last year. So I don't know how you stack on the north course because if one day's weather was going to be better than the other, maybe then you do it. But if the weather is not going to play a factor, all 156 golfers, they're all going to play the north course at some point, and they're all going to play it in pretty pristine weather. So I don't know if you do that, but I'd be curious, Drew, if I'm wrong there or not.
No, I'm actually 100% with you, Phil. So like the stroke differential on the north course, if I'm correct, and you probably have better knowledge of this than me, Jason, it's about 3 shots difference between the north and the south. Yeah. The great point by you, Phil. If weather, if it was a determining factor where I had the wind blowing like crazy on the south on say Thursday or Friday, then I would pivot off that. But I don't know if there's much of an advantage if the weather's going to be benign on both days. So maybe if you're digging deep into it and trying to find a reason behind it, is you could say that you'd rather have them start with the north course just because the course gets firmer and faster throughout the 4 days. So there may be a slight advantage there, but I'm not going to read too much into it.
When you're playing in San Diego, if this was being played like in Philly right now with the weather we're having this weekend, yeah, obviously I'll take that into account. But when you're playing in Southern California, I don't think you, especially this weekend, I don't think you have to take that into account as much. But that's just me. Again, like I always say, Jason, I'm not the smart one. I'm just the guy that talks a lot on the show. You guys are obviously way much smarter.
You were spot on with that take. What do you mean?
I kind of pulled that out of my ass, to be honest.
Hey, I would pay money to watch John Rahm play golf in Philadelphia on January 26th.
Oh my God! Yeah. I got to go back and see. How did he play when it was at Merion? Was he even how many years ago was Merion the U.S. Open? That was the last time a major event was in Philly. I don't even remember how many years ago that was, but yeah, I'd love to see him play. I want to see him play like in front of like a rowdy Eagles crowd, and see how he handles that kind of crowd. Or I want to see Bryson and Brooks paired together in front of a
I was going to say probably not.
I wish like golf's like such a pretentious sport where like you can't move or say a word while somebody's swinging. Like I want like a golf tournament. I guess you somewhat get it at the Waste Management out in Phoenix or Scottsdale rather, but just a heckling golf tournament. Just let everybody just be loud, talk during your swing. Just go play golf. Like why does it have to be
so much trouble for that? Because I have no golf etiquette. But it's not that I have no golf etiquette. I'm just trying to have fun. I'm not trying to win the U.S. Open when I'm out playing around the golf. I like to have a little speaker, a little music in my golf cart. No one allows that.
I'm the same way. But you catch the wrong guy that gets paired with your group, and they're like, "Oh no, this isn't how."
That's like 90% of people I play golf with. So that's that. Anyway, yeah. All right. So, anything else, Jason or Drew, that you want to address about this week specifically and this course? Something else that might be jumping out at you? Drew saying no, Jason. Anything else?
Not so much the course. Yeah, not so much the course as the field. I think the big question of the week to kind of get into the pricing is to John Rahm or not to John Rahm.
Yeah.
I know we were talking about ownership right before we got on here. Yeah, we were talking about ownership right before we got on here. Fanshare has him at 22. 22, yeah.
Yeah, so that top
So
end,
I don't know.
you got Rahm, JT, you got Hideki, you got Dustin Johnson, you got Xander, and you got Daniel Berger. They're all your guys at 10K and above. And obviously, John Rahm is clear cut above and beyond the best player in the world right now. But I mean, at 22%, John Rahm at 11.2, is it worth it? I mean, I think it's a great question when there's some other great golfers in that 10K range that you can, pivot off of and, save some money and go elsewhere. Drew, I don't know what your thoughts are on John Rahm.
Yeah, and John Rahm, of course, will be heavily owned because of all the things he does well. I'm surprised I was looking at some stuff before the show. It's kind of surprising John Rahm's resume isn't filled with more tour victories. And I think the market's got kind of out of control on John Rahm to an extent for a guy that doesn't win at this amazing clip that you would think. For me, I know the course history is there. I know the U.S. Open back in June. I know the 2017 victory here, which was his first on tour. I'm not playing John Rahm at 22. I'm just not going to do it. I think also it's important to fade a guy. Like, pick a couple guys in this range that you're flat out cool with fading and go from there, because that's the way to kind of cipher through that 10K range.
Can I say, and again, this might be totally off base, that I think the John Rahm winning here at the U.S. Open means absolutely nothing this week, because a U.S. Open course compared to how it's built for 100%. This week at Farmers Insurance mean absolutely nothing. There's so many guys in the 8K range, the 7K range, not necessarily going to win it, but that could push towards that leaderboard, a lot better than they can in the U.S. Open. So when you're building
the only thing that I take from
you don't need to do that, because it's totally different.
Yeah, the only thing I take from the U.S. Open is putting statistics, because the greens stay the same, but everything else about the course kind of changes. So if guys putt well around here, this is the first time we're seeing Poa all year, which is completely different grass. I think that there's some, at least the way I'm looking at it, you can draw. If you putted really well here, even if it was in the June, Open, these greens are relatively the same, and you should still have success and confidence around this place.
Okay, that's fair enough. Jason?
What's super interesting? I was just looking at ownership numbers again real quick. Dustin Johnson's listed at 7%. So if you're telling me I can get DJ at 7, yeah, I don't know how you don't play DJ.
So basically I have two guys, because again, we have to have our lineups in by tomorrow morning, and between my 400 shows a day I do, I know between now and then I won't have time. So
you got till noon, though, dude. You got till noon.
Yeah.
So you could get some coffee.
At 7, I do my 8:30 a.m. But I have an 8:30 a.m. show every single day. So by the time I get to my show, head to work, it won't get done. This is my last opportunity. Okay. I played two guys in the 10K range. I played Dustin Johnson a lot, and I played Hideki Matsuyama this week a lot. And I love both of them. I love what they can do on a course like this. If Hideki can putt decently, I think he's at his price a great play. But Dustin Johnson, how many times in the last 5 years have you been able to find Dustin Johnson as the fourth most expensive guy, in a tournament, especially a tournament at Torrey Pines?
At 7%,
yeah, at 7%. Yeah. I actually want to go back and switch some of my Hidekis and play even more Dustin Johnson out hearing that number.
Yeah, to be honest with you, this is where recency bias comes in. We haven't seen him play, right? We know he didn't have a win last year, but if you remember, he dominated at the Ryder Cup. And hasn't played much since. So this is people basically saying, okay, guy didn't win. Stats might not be there. Form might not be there, but it's Dustin Johnson. The guy can pick up a golf club and go out and win. I mean, we saw what he did at the Masters. Like, he can go out and blow fields away, right? And that's the thing is at 7%, I'm willing to lose and fall on my face for Dustin Johnson this week as compared to playing John Rahm at 22%. I mean, it just makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love Dustin Johnson. What do you guys think about Hideki Matsuyama? Because again, Hideki, I mean, he's not always the greatest putter. He's not the biggest hitter on tour, especially in the 10K range. But he's just a guy that, I don't know. I just tend to love Hideki as much as possible in big fields, because he tends to be priced just below those top 2 or 3 elite guys always. And I always feel like you get really great value with Hideki.
No, I like Decky a lot this week. I was just looking. He's at 12% ownership, so pretty reasonable. A guy that I want to like this week, but I don't know if I can wrap my head around it, is Berger. I think he's going to be so just overlooked in this range. He's overpriced, I think, a little bit. First off, there's some guys in the 9Ks that I think are better plays than him, but his game should set up perfectly for this course. But I looked back at his course history, and it's awful. I don't know if he's ever made a cut here even. So not good. I would love to play him at that ownership, but I just don't know. Which is weird because it seems like he's a good iron player. You think that he's a pretty good putter. You think his game would be good here. So what do you guys think of Berger?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really like. Nobody jumped off the page for me outside of Rom, Decky, and DJ, and I just faded Rom just to save the money. So yeah, I just don't know if Berger fits this week.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree completely with you guys on this one.
I love it when people disagree because everyone always agrees.
Yeah, sorry, boys. So I'm looking at you plugged Fantasy National earlier, and I'm all about it. So last 24 rounds, he's first in the field in strokes gained approach. He does everything ball striking wise well. So the issue with Daniel Berger here is of the last 5 rounds, he's lost an average of 4 strokes on the green in each tournament, which even at the Century where he lost almost 4, he finished in 5th. Now we flash back to the U.S. Open in June. He gained almost 2 strokes on the field here on the greens. Ball striking wise is there. He's a guy like we talked about last night. Like Justin Thomas is very similar. The trend he's on from Daniel Berger, the ball striking stats are screaming to play him, but at the same time, the putter's just been awful. But again, I'm going to play it as I'm going back to kind of these greens are what they are as far as your strokes gained. They're not changing much. I'm all in on Berger, especially at what'd you say? There it is. Just shy of 11%. So for me, it would be Berger. I'm not against Hideki. I did read about like a little nagging injury Hideki's dealing with, which I know doesn't seem like much, but when we're kind of trying to shore things up here at the top of the board, I think that's going to be enough for me. So I will take him, and I'll also go with who the hell was my other 10 guy? Okay, guy I was talking about. Oh, DJ. Those would be my 2 guys up top.
Speaking of Decky's injury or potential or nagging, whatever it may be, I really wish DraftKings would, put the amount of effort into updating players, at least the top end players, injuries and what they're dealing. Like when you're doing DraftKings for football, I mean, every single day, every major player gets 5 updates on whether they're practicing, how their health is, whether they sneeze 3 times on the practice, field. For golf, you don't get any update on that kind of stuff. So it's kind of hard to really have to dig super deep to get that information.
I think part of it is they don't know. I don't think a lot of these golfers don't say anything, or their team doesn't say anything until the very last second. That's why you see the last second WDs. I know that Webb did it last year one time. It's like,
damn it, dude.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they make it public because they don't have to. There's no injury report, so.
True.
Well, there's no injury. Yeah, there's no.
You know what? We need an injury report. We
do.
To do that. I'm going to start campaigning for an injury report. Because you say the late withdrawals suck. The withdrawals after the event starts and you can't edit your lineup.
Well, those are the ones.
Exactly.
Like it's like, let me replace this dude with like some bum 6K guy. Like, give me I'll take the shittiest guy in the field. At least he's gonna play. Give me that guy.
Seriously. It's definitely a big pet peeve of mine. And so 9K range. I think there's a lot of jam-packed names in this 9K range. Even though it's a Bombers course, my man Bryson is not on my board this week. You got Sam Burns, you got Koepka, the U.S. Open winner, you got Scotty Scheffler, Spieth, Zalatoris, Finau, and Leishman. I'm trying to squint my eyes to read the board here. Drew, do you have a favorite play in that range? And hopefully it's one of mine because I already made my lineups, and I hope I'm on track here.
Yeah, so if the 9K range is interesting for me because I'm immediately eliminating Brooks and I'm eliminating Spieth, as hard as that is for me to do. And I'm also going to eliminate Tony Finau DFS wise. And the only reason, and I know Tony Finau has been fantastic strokes gained wise around this course. He's had but at second most ownership at hell 20 almost 21%. I can't do it. So okay, so that leaves me Sam Burns. I don't love. I will probably the most played guy in this range for me will be Sung J M and Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler a good week last week. Sung J M, and I don't see the ownership numbers on him, but so Sung J had a terrible week at Waialae, right? Missed the cut, super high ownership, and then the next week, last week, we got him at a decent ownership, and he had a good week. So those are the 2 guys I'm looking at. And again, I talked about this, like Spieth's my ride or die. Like I bet him I've spent so much money and just thrown into the fire because of Jordan Spieth. But like, I would love for him to win and me be super wrong. And like, this is the week. If you are in on Jordan Spieth and what he's done around this golf course at less than 8%, you can get Jordan Spieth this week, right? He's right there with Brooks and DJ. So if you feel good about those guys, but Spieth and Brooks, if you look at kind of the way they're trending, it's just hard for me to get behind right now. And if they prove me wrong, fine. But I'm going to fade those two and go with the other two.
Yeah, Im's the most used guy that I've got in this range already. I like actual Burns, and I don't know if I placed all my bets yet for this week. I would consider placing a bet on him. I don't know what his odds are at this point and all, because I do like him. I just think he's going to be super highly owned this week. That kind of scares me. And I like Will Zalatoris this week. I don't know. He's kind of showed he played last week or 2 weeks ago.
Last week.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, last week. Yeah, and he top 10 finish. 6th place finish. Yeah, I knew he had a top 10 finish there, so I just had to pull it back up. So I like Will Zalatoris this week. Jason, thoughts on that range there?
Kind of just go along the same lines. Sungjae is probably my favorite in this range, and Scheffler's honestly my second favorite. So I feel like sets up perfectly for this course. I mean, he ranked out third in my model. He's 6 tee to green, 9th off the tee, 6 par 4 scoring, and 8th par 5 scoring. I feel like his all-around game is perfect, and that's kind of what I'm going to be kind of trending with this week, is just all-around good players. And I know he had a bad week a couple weeks ago, but he kind of rounded back into form last week, and I like him a lot on this track. So I'm going to go Im. I don't know how much of this range I'm truthfully going to play, but if I do go in, it's going to be Im for sure.
It's a weird range, man. This is a weird board for me, because it's like I want to fade a lot of the top, because I think that's the value of DFS, is fading some of the top of the board. But then the 9K range has me like, I just have to – I feel like you have to just talk yourself out, just to eliminate like 3/4 of the guys and then kind of go from there.
I kind of feel like if you have to talk yourself into playing somebody, even though like if you're really working hard to talk yourself into it, you should just talk yourself out of it and take them right off your board. It's kind of like a lot of things in sports, If it's like, yeah, I want to play that guy, but anytime you got to say "but" really, long like that, just take him off. Just take him off the board. Just take him out of it.
Get him out of there.
Get him out of there.
It's like being a Lion. It's like being a Detroit Lions fan. It's like every year you're like, they might win 7 games, they might win 8 games. No, they're going to win 3.
Yeah. All we want is like 7. It's like we're not even asking for 12. We just want like 7 or 8. Like,
you want to be respectable. You want to be respectable. Which we had a conversation last week, Jason. That with if Aaron Rodgers retires, the AFC or the NFC North is wide open. You might win the division at 7 wins next year. Then.
Oh, damn.
No.
Hey, listen. Gives us a shot. Get him out of there.
So you're telling me there's a chance. All right, 8K range. You got Gooch, Connors, Reed, the defending champion. You got Matt Wolff, Max Homa, Bazunut, and McNeely and Palmer. Again, I'll stick with you, Drew. Do you have? What do you? I mean, if you're so against the 9K range, you got to be feeling the 8K range then a little bit.
No, I'm definitely feeling the 8K range. So, like, I feel like a lot of people on Matt Wolff last week, which is the wrong week. Golf course didn't set up for him. His ownership was out of control. Matt Wolff this week, as we sit, is at I just saw it. I think it's shy of 7%. Yep. So yeah, you can get Matt Wolff basically shy of 7% right now, where last week he was in the 20s. This golf course is a bomber's paradise. I'm not a big guy that plays Matt Wolff a lot, but in select spots, I think this is a perfect setup for him. I expect him to play well. I'm not against Patrick Reed. I will fade Taylor Gooch. Maverick McNeely's coming in way higher than I'm comfortable with. The other guy I will take is Bazunut. That's another a low-owned guy and has a big golf game for a big ballpark. And those will be kind of the two guys I'm looking at in 8K at least.
Yep. I love it. Matt Wolff, Jason knows he's on my DTM, my dead to me list. And I don't think – what was it? How many times did he withdraw after an event started last year? Like 47 times?
Oh, yeah.
And I played him every single time, and then he withdrew, so he went on the dead to me list.
That's
this
fair.
week, he's actually
He had a mental breakdown, bro.
Yeah, dude. Can he reapply to get back on the list, or like
he is in my – let me see my count there. He is tied.
Okay.
He's tied for the
grant
third
him an
most
exemption?
He's tied for the third most used guy I got today.
All right,
So Matt
all right.
Wolff, this is your week for redemption. if you don't want to get back on the DTM list, this is the week because I got a lot of usage of Matt Wolff. And I think, where's my bets I made? I already made a 55-1 bet on him to win outright as well. So I'm
you
reason
throw a 5 in front of it. Like the numbers get so out of control for Matt Wolff, like they did last week, even in the outright betting market. It's like, I'm not touching that. Like I know the upside, but like you put a high 4 or a 5 in front of it. Now we're talking based off course fit. Yeah, I'm all in on Matt Wolff.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason, thoughts in this range or on Matt Wolff?
Well, Wolff, no, I completely agree with Drew's point on Matt Wolff. I mean, we've seen him do well in major type events. I mean, obviously this is a major course last year, so I like him a lot. I like McNeely, but like you said, with the ownership, I just can't do it at that high percent of ownership. Guy that kind of seems to be flying under the radar a little bit is Corey Connors. I think I might get on that a little bit this week. Obviously a good ball striker, not a good putter. Could make some noise here. I think he has pretty decent course history, if I'm not mistaken. What is it? Not great. But yeah, I like his game for this course. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that. Ownership's really gonna matter in this range for me because I think I'm gonna go a little chalkier at the top end. So I'm really gonna be focusing on ownership in this range.
So here's an ownership percentage question for you guys. So just say, I mean, you're saying McNeely's gonna be super chalky, or high owned in this range here. But say you really like McNeely, okay? You say he fits this, like betting wise, like you like him, you want to make a bet, top 10, top 20, whatever it is, you really like him this week. If there's a guy that's going to be super highly owned and you really like him, is there still a theory out there that says sprinkle him into, if you're playing 20 lineups, still try to get 2 or 3, clicks in on him? Or do you just completely stay away from him completely when it's that?
No, for me, 100% play him.
Listen, I like McNeely this week. And I wrote down, when I write down my potential pool, I put next to them question mark waiting for you or Jason or somebody to give me ownership percentages. And because I fear those guys being really highly owned, McNeely's the guy I like this week. But again, I know there's going to be a lot of people using him this week.
Like right now, he's at 15%, around 15%, which is high. But for me, I like to, if I'm playing chalk, I tend to like to play it higher up on the board. Maverick McNeely doesn't have a lot of win equity. But listen, dude, if there's a guy you like, I don't give a damn if he's 90% owned. If you think he's going to have a good week, you play him. That's just the way you have to pivot like in other spots. If you want to play a guy that's super high owned, you find other places to pivot. But yeah, never just because it's high owned. If you love the guy that week, you put him in all your line of shell. Have 100% ownership.
What I'm trying to say is, say a guy, all right, so 15%, McNeely's price, I won't play him more than X amount of times. You know what I mean? Is there like is there a thought process that goes into your head when you're doing that?
Yeah, for me, I would just if I would just tone down the percentage, right? So like if you're into Maverick McNeely a ton, and it's all dependent on how many lineups you're doing. But so say you're doing 20 lineups, right?
Yep.
If you want to have 60% of Mav McNeely, make it 50 and just roll with that. Or if it's 80, make it 70, right? I think that's kind of like your zone to where if he ends up having a bad week, you still might be able to pair up some lineups that are going to cash. But again, if you love him and he has a great week, then the 15% ownership is kind of irrelevant because you're still building off of that everywhere else.
Yeah. It's just a thought process. Jason, do you agree with that, or do you have any different theories on that?
No, I do. Because we kind of saw this come into play last week with Patrick Cantlay and John Rahm. They were both, I think, what was it, like 30% owned at least, or one was 33, one was 31% owned. I mean, but they were in pretty much all the lineups, which obviously last week worked out perfectly with a lower guy winning. Obviously, that's not going to work out like that every week. But yeah, it kind of goes back to like I know Pat Mayo always said it's like you just play good plays. It's like at some point you need to like stop overthinking it at some point. And if a guy's a good play, just play him. So yeah, I kind of agree with
that is kind of like my theory with fantasy football. You play the good plays. You know what I mean?
It's like overthinking playing Derrick Henry, right? Just because he's coming back from injury. If like Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, you play your good guys. Like you gotta play David Singletary instead of Derrick Henry. Like then you look like an ass.
I actually made a lot of money last weekend on a showdown. I had Singletary as my MVP, and my next pick was Gabriel Davis. So I actually cashed in that lineup for quite a bit of money. So yeah, that worked out.
Bad
I wish I would have paid Davis in the MVP. and Singletary, but it still worked out really, really well for me. Yeah. So just on a side note there.
Yeah, fair
All
enough.
right. All right, let's get down to the 7K range here. A lot of names, obviously. A lot of names I'm reading all over the place with. I don't need to read them all off here. Some of the names I'm hearing a lot of: Keegan Bradley, Luke List. All for different reasons. Hoagie, who had a great start to the weekend, didn't seal the deal, but whatever. My man, the guy that when he plays, I'm always in on him. I don't care what the stats say, just because I like his name, Mito Pereira. I love the guy. I just love saying Mito over and over again. You got I hear a lot of Adam Hadwin this week. Ricky Fowler dropped. What was he like? 85, 86 last week. Drops down to 72 this week. Patrick Rogers, a guy that I see a lot of.
Ricky's probably still overpriced, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's still overpriced for Ricky, and still stay away from Ricky. Jason, first name that you see in this range that jumps off the board at you.
So I'm going to give you two names. The first name is Justin Rose. I absolutely love how he's.
Go ahead, give me two. Go ahead.
Well, the reason I'm going to give you another one is because I have not heard anyone talk about him this entire week, and that's Joaquin Niemann. I just feel like this track sets up so well for him, and no one is talking about him in this range at all. This is a guy that can go low. He can play better on, he can play well on tough courses as well. Just a ball striker. So I love the Niemann play this week a lot.
And who was the other one?
Justin Rose.
Oh, Justin Rose. Gotcha. I cut you off. I didn't actually hear it. Gotcha. All right. So thoughts on that, Drew? Do you agree with him, or
I'm in on Justin Rose. Some signs of ball striking. The last time we saw him, in Justin Rose is kind of fallen off a cliff, for lack of a better term, here recently. So you're getting Justin Rose, major champion, here in the 7K range. I'm taking it. I don't have tons of thoughts about Joaquin Niemann. I'd like Joaquin Niemann more if the wind was going to be up a little bit this week, just because of his ball flight. But I don't have anything against him. Hoagie's going to be higher owned after his third finish last week. So the guys I'm going to take are going to be Brant Snedeker, who has fantastic course history here. Like, you get Brant Snedeker on POA, and he's fantastic. As we've seen, he's won AT&T Pebble Beach. I will also be on the Adam Hadwin, even though I feel like this is one of those guys that I feel comfortable eating the higher ownership at this range. Yeah, yep. So I feel fine with that. And then Luke List, I'm not going to go with just because of the high ownership. Billy Horschel is the other guy I like. I think just in general, Billy Horschel kind of flies under the radar. I think he's a way better player than every single person I'm seeing in the 7K range at this point. And so Billy Horschel, I'll go with him. Again, not a guy that people are going to look at thinking he's going to be able to go out there and bomb it and get around this golf course, but fantastic short game, putts well basically on any surface. So I'll go roll with Billy Horschel here in the 7K range.
This is the first range where we have all of us are bringing up different names here, because obviously I joked about it. Mito, I'm always a fan of Mito just because I love the name. But for some reason, when I built my model this week, he ranked out, because I do my model early in the season off of 36 rounds. He came in at third on my model. And the fact that I love the name Mito, I love Mito the golfer, and he finished high. I don't know how that happened. He shouldn't finish that high, but he did. So I'm going to play him for that reason alone. Some other names that I started using in this range, Keith Mitchell, Johnny Vegas, I think is due for a bounce back this week. Obviously, again, Luke List, again, like you said, probably going to be highly owned, but, I'll still sprinkle him in some. Keegan Bradley, if he could putt a little bit. And Patrick Rogers is another guy that, I seem to always be a fan of. I get him on the wrong weeks, but I think he could potentially play pretty well here this week.
I like Patrick.
I like Lonto Griffin too. I mean, I think 2 of 3 starts here. He had a T7, a missed cut, and a T12 here in his career. So obviously played well last week too. I think that he could be a pretty solid play this week.
How batshit crazy is this though? Lantau Griffin at 7,700, 18%, third highest owned guy projected right now. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's wild. That is crazy.
That's pretty crazy. So we know, obviously, you said John Rahm is pretty up there. So it's Rahm, him, and who else?
Finau, Lantau Griffin, or Lanto Griffin, and then the ridiculous Xander Schauffele. What are we doing with this Xander Schauffele shit? Like, he doesn't win golf tournaments. Why in the hell is he 18% owned? And there's nothing against Xander Schauffele, but okay. Yeah, for Xander to be at 4, well, for Lanto to be at third is pretty wild. But
Yeah.
the Xander Schauffele thing, and I have nothing against Xander, but like every single week that Xander plays, his ownership is higher than it should be, and his outright number is higher than it should be, or lower than it should be, rather.
Yep.
Fair enough. Just real quick on the 6K range, because honestly, I want to call myself the 6K whisperer, but I really don't have any plays in the 6K range that I'm, really excited about this week. I've played a lot of guys in the 7K range and just sprinkled in a lot of names and low usage of each one. As Drew's face explains, I'm sure he's thinking hard about that. Jason, do you got any 6K guys you like this week?
Like McCumber all the way down at 6,300, just for a guy that has high upside. I feel like even though he's low, he's obviously 6,300. That's really low price. So I like him this week. I don't like a lot, to be honest with you. I'm gonna try my best to not go into the 6Ks this week, which I know is a little bit of a cop out, but yeah, that's my strategy.
I agree with you. I'm playing him. He doesn't grade out really high for me this week, but I kind of found him at random last week. He did really well his last 2 weeks. I didn't find him last week. I found him 2 weeks ago at the Sony Open. I've been playing him, and that's Adam Svensson, the Canadian guy. He plays decently. Maybe you sprinkle in a little bit of him, but I don't know. There's not much to love with this field in the 6K range.
I think another guy that's interesting too is Doug Gim. That might be another guy that I'm sprinkling in a little bit. He always burns me. I seem to never get him right, but I just feel like he's a course fit here. So I'm going to probably sprinkle a little bit of him in there.
Range,
Oh, is he?
No,
my bad.
Say you're breaking the rules again.
Close
I told you to pick one. You pick two names. I tell you to go to the 6K range.
Oh,
you pick a 7K range guy.
7K, you're right. My bad.
Hey, well, since he cheated, I'll even though I got burned last week, I'll sprinkle in some Phil. With the 7K piece. I'm in on Adam Svensson as well. Grayson Siggs, a guy I like. And then the only other name that I would throw out, it's crazy to me. Harry Higgs is at 6,700, and I know there's not a lot of data to back up the reasons to play him here, but he's just a better player than to be in this bottom feeder section. So, and then the only other guy I know I mentioned to lots of guys, it would be Hayden Buckley. Decent week last week, but I actually think there's some value in the 6K range if you want to go top heavy. It's just, Joseph Bramlett's going to get probably high ownership. I just
brought his name up on my screen too.
Yeah, he's going to get high ownership, and he's a 6,700 player. So it's like, how much are you into the Joseph Bramlett, fan club? I don't know. I don't know if I'm there.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. It's kind of hard. I mean, I always build test lineups before I do it, before I finalize my pool, and I really found it hard to build lineups with multiple 6K guys, so that then you could go super top heavy. I didn't like them at all when I would find them.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I don't know if you guys do that. Before I finalize my pool, I try to build 5 or 6 lineups. I write them down, and I just kind of think to myself, how confident am I if I submitted this lineup into an as an entry? And I did one with CT Pan, Adam Schenk in it, and I'm like, do I really want to put those two guys in?
That's kind of your MO, though. You're like the big, just stars and scrubs kind of guy ever since, the times I've been on the show.
A test lineup I put together a solely 7K lineup, and my stars, it doesn't compare to my stars and scrub lineup this week, in my opinion, just in how those players could do together. So it's just not working for me this week.
You're not playing tons.
Listen, you could have done that last week, and you could have had the optimal lineup. I think last week's optimal lineup was 40.
I did have one lineup that was in the top 100 in the quarter jukebox, and then not Mito. I'm still thinking about Mito. Tom Hoagie falling out of first place, dropped me out of the in the quarter jukebox. I think he was only owned in 4% of lineups, and I had him in about 7 lineups last week, and he cost me on Sunday quite the drop in payout last week. So that sucked. Yeah,
sounds like
I hate that. All right, let's build some lineups here. Let me clear my screen here. Defending champion Hunter, the guest last week. So far, week 1 of the show, I won. Week 2 of the show, Jason won. Week 3, our first guest won. So week 4, I don't know who's going to win. So Drew, as the guest and the guest slot is the defending champion, you get to go first as the defending champ.
Well, in fairness, I'm pretty sure I am the defending champion. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Did you win the last time you were on our show?
I don't know. Even if I didn't, I want to claim it.
Okay, gotcha.
You want to
I swear every year I'm going to keep better track. And literally, I kept track for 1 week, and now I have nothing in front of me anymore.
No, man, I get it. All right, so I will start out with Dustin Johnson.
All right.
Then I'll go to Daniel Berger.
Going top heavy.
Ooh, like it.
Then I'll go Justin Rose.
Okay.
I'll go with Brandt Snedeker.
Okay.
I will go with Adam Hadwin.
Got it.
And then Patrick Rogers. Just to finish off. I know we mentioned him earlier, but
All right. That's a really strong line. Again, like I don't know why Berger I just stayed away from him this week, but that's the only name that I'm not sure where him not making it into my lineups happened, but it's a good lineup. I like it.
beautiful. I love it.
Beautiful. All right, Jason, you want to go next, or do you want me
All
to go
right,
next?
no, I'll go. Time for the winning lineup. I'm gonna go Sanjay M.
All right.
I'm gonna go with my main man Tyler McCumber, 6,300, dipping way down.
Oh, bottom
Way
feeder.
down.
Joaquin the Dream Neiman. Just have a feeling. I don't know why.
Yep, it's a bad
I'm gonna
feeling.
do it since you guys aren't gonna do it. I'm gonna go John Rahm.
All right, that's why I had to type it in, because it's the first name on the list. I have no idea.
You just got to get there whatever way you can.
I'm gonna go Justin Rose. I'm going Justin Rose too.
Copying off of him, that's always helpful.
And then I was gonna go
Excuse me,
Mito, but since you're in love with Mito, I'm gonna go Aaron Wise instead. I'll let you have Mito.
Okay. It's funny because I'm looking at my test lineups that I had written down that I might play, and Mito's not in the one I probably would play. I'm not sure now. Now I can go two different ways here. Maybe I can get Mito in. We're gonna have to figure this one out here real quick. You got that lineup down?
I submitted my lineup to the official DraftKings
official event. Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. Again, I like this. I don't even know who McCumber is. Like I know who he is, but I don't know where that play came from. You might be stealing my 6K Whisper nickname if that guy plays well this week. That's all I'm going to say. So let's clear that out. So which lineup? Hold on. Where's him? How much is him? I try to be unique in these group things just to make it fun.
Hey, if I just randomly picked a lineup on this show and didn't have one already, we'd be here till 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd be like, well, you sub out what's his face for me. How much money do I have left?
Yeah. I'm just testing. We're gonna go Mito since I said it. We'll go with this one here. Again, I'm not worried about ownership percentage because it's just a three-way here.
That's true.
So we could go with List and go with Taylor Gooch this week. We are gonna go Burns. We are going to go Will Zalatoris, and that leaves me 7,200. And let's go down here because I trying to mix it up here. And what the hell?
Joel Damon.
Did I mess up my own list here?
Possible.
Yeah, we're gonna go Josh Bramlett. There you go. So we're gonna go Mito. I had originally listed Sung J M, but I'm gonna go unique and switch it up from you there, Jason, and put Zalatoris in there. But there we go. See, I'm just gonna click update. I don't even have to write it down. I'm set. Update entry, and it's in.
That's a unique entry. It's a unique one for sure.
It's absolutely unique. Do we need to see it again to see how unique it is? I mean, that's as unique as you get right there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many people do you think are playing Mito and Bramlett in the same lineups this week?
Probably like 1%.
1%.
Probably
I thought you were going to say
half a percent.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. All right. So Drew, I mean, I don't know how you get into the betting and stuff like that. Do you bet much or not? If you had to pick a guy that you really, DraftKings set aside, and ownership percentages aside, your favorite guy to win the event this week, who would it be?
Yeah, I would go with Sung Jae. that's kind of where I've been all week with it. I think I got what I get on him, a 30. I already put the bet in. Let me pull it up here real quick. Sorry.
I got him at 32-1. So
I got him at 30. So I'm in at 30. It's just like, it's so hard because some of these guys, like outright wise, have become so low and aggressively owned. Like, the numbers, like I can't go 8-1. Like there's just not a value there. And so I feel Sung Jae is my best bet. I think all the things he does, long iron play, accuracy off tee, I think he'll be my one and only play if I were to pick one.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. He's my favorite play. This actually, I'm really hoping for a nice run. This is the week last year that I picked Patrick Reed to win, and it started a run between here and the Masters where I picked quite a few outrights. So I'm hoping that this starts the run that I had last year. So I agree with you 100%. Sung Jae is my favorite play. Obviously, I bet Mito at 120-1. Why not? If he takes the first round lead and they offer me a cash out, I'm taking it right off the bat. Yeah. And like I said, I got Matt Wolff at 55-1 as well. Jason?
The no-brainer bet of the week, Dustin Johnson 25-1. That's just insane to me. I mean, obviously we haven't seen him play at all, but it's too big of a number.
I didn't even bet it. I said it was my favorite play of the week, and I didn't even bet it. Yeah. Like, what am I even doing? I might have to just
kind
go
of the
back
same
and
thought
bet
process on me saying, how can he be 10-3?
I'm adding DJ to the card as soon as this is over. Add him.
All right. So now you guys are gonna make me do it too. Jeez. Thanks for the peer pressure there.
Yeah, we're hammering DJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other bets you got, Jason?
I bet him as well. I wanted to bet Scheffler, but I feel like at 20-1 for a guy that doesn't win either. I don't know. It's too low. The odds aren't good enough. So
Dustin
that's
Johnson
all I have at the moment right now.
Dustin Johnson has better odds than Scotty Scheffler. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. So I thought this, Torrey Pines, I thought to close the show here, it's a legendary course, obviously. It's in beautiful Southern California, San Diego. So where would Torrey Pines rank on your most desired courses to play? Like if you could play any courses out there, would Torrey Pines rank in your top 5 courses that you'd want to play? Jason's nodding his head. Yes. Absolutely. Where would it rank?
I would say top 3. I mean, obviously Augusta. I mean, Augusta's obviously number 1. No question about it. I don't know. Pebble, Torrey. Yeah, I would say top 3. Top 3 or 4.
Drew, you're saying no, you wouldn't rank it that high?
No, it would probably be in the top 10, but it wouldn't be in the top 5.
Okay.
I mean, Augusta's 1.
Yeah, Augusta's
I would
one
say
for all of us, obviously. Yeah.
Augusta's 1, Detroit 2.
Yeah.
Detroit 2.
I would say Cypress Point would be 3. Pine Valley would be 4. Like I would see. I'm like, I don't know, because like Torrey Pines is architectural, like is an architect standpoint, is just not that great of a golf course. Yeah. Now I get that the views are fantastic, but I would rather play like Whistling Straits. I don't know. It would probably fit somewhere in my top 10, but don't get me wrong. You throw me on a course with the ocean views, I'm in.
I agree with you 100%. I don't think it would rank in my top 5. It would definitely be in that 6 through 10 range because I'm actually a little different than you guys. Obviously, Augusta 1. I have actually St. Andrews as my number 2 course I want to play in my life. I just love just that history at that course. I don't even care about the views. I don't care that my worst golf course style is link style golf. I don't care. St. Andrews, going over there, that would be like the golf trip and dream for me.
It's just a pain in the ass, though. You got to get up at like 1 in the morning. You got to check in. You don't tee off till like 1 in the afternoon.
I don't care. I could take a cat nap. It's all right.
Fair.
It's still a dream course to play.
I say that as like Augusta's my number 1. Like I'm just gonna call up and make a tee time for Tuesday.
Exactly. Unless you know somebody. Maybe Rob knows somebody. Rob's a pretty famous guy,
Yeah, well, if he knows somebody, then he's been holding out.
Rob's been holding out. Rob's probably a member at Augusta and hasn't even told us.
I don't know about that. But
and I would definitely put Pebble Beach above Torrey Pines, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, probably.
All right, I'm just curious. I always love to get it. I mean, I've been lucky enough to play a lot of golf courses around the world. Never any in my top 5 or anything like that. But it's always curious to see, what people think of, some of these other courses and where they rank. So just curious.
Would you rather play Kapalua or Torrey?
Kapalua.
I'd probably rather play Kapalua too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, on a side note, then, what's the most famous course you've played, Drew?
Oh, well, I played Key Island, the Ocean Course.
Mm-hmm.
I played Inverness Club, which they just had the Solheim Cup at. Those would probably be the 2 best courses I've played. You would think I'd played more good golf courses, but it's just like the thing about golf is so pretentious. You have to know a person to play a good golf course, like a really good golf course. Most of these things are private.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Awesome, excellent. Anything left to promote there? Obviously, you got the Approach podcast. Monday nights, you and Rob are doing a great job with that. We love it. Anything else you got going on right now?
No, man. Hey, I appreciate it. I'm getting ready to hopefully in the next 30 days launch my my golf teaching website. So that'll be good.
That's awesome.
All virtual and whatnot. But yeah, no, that's just it, man. The approach and that's
I'll be sending you some golf swings then as soon as you get that website up and going. Every year I say I'm going to get a little bit more time in practice and get some more work in, but now that I know somebody that can help me, that'd be great.
It's being worked on by people that are way smarter than I am.
Yeah.
I just kind of tell them what I kind of want it to be. So it's just cool. Like I did, free golf lessons for a while, and I did probably 250 of them, which was awesome. And so I just think the virtual golf lesson space is kind of cool. And so once I get it launched, I think it'll be good and it'll be fun. And listen, man, you can send your swing in from your couch, and I'll send you something back, and we're in good shape.
There we go. Awesome, Jason. Excellent show as always, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. Drew, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Again, Drew at Detroit Dave 7 on Twitter. Make sure you follow him. Send your golf swings to him. He'll help you out. This is Fairway to Heaven every Tuesday night right here on DSM Media. Brought to you by Manscaped at manscaped.com and Fantasy National Golf Club at fantasynational.com. There are 2 partners for this show every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Like I said, we got the Farmers Insurance Open this week. Get those lineups in. Don't forget to click submit because it starts at 12 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. So you don't want to miss out on a minute of it. And everybody have a great weekend, a great week. Let's all cash some GPPs, like I say here at the beginning of every show. And let's cash some GPPs and then watch some awesome football on Sunday. I think that would make a great weekend, right?
I'm good with that.
Hey, everybody have a great night, and we will talk to you later.